Good morning, everyone. You are watching The Dialogue, Season 1, Episode 3. And this whole season is about decoding Indian scriptures, Indian rituals, making sense of everything that we've heard. If you're Indian, if you're Hindu, if you've grown up with that culture, making sense of it all, making it applicable in our lives. And today is our episode number 3. What we've been talking about so far is understanding the characters of the Bhagavad Geeta and relating it to our personal lives. And I'm going to just put that, decoding characters. I'm going to pin that as well as there is a title on the top as well, which tells you what we are talking about. So far, we were able to understand that how all the characters represent parts of ourselves. How Dhritarashtra, the blind king, represents our blind ego when we operate from that blindness, and he gave birth to 100 sons, 100 evil sons. Because when you operate from that ego with that limited understanding, blind understanding, that's where you belong. Pandu represents the potential. His 5 children represent the 5 elements in their pure form, and how they come together and how we experience the world, enjoy ourselves, and then maybe at some point find ourselves on that battlefield questioning everything that we're doing. I'm not going to go into the previous characters, but last time we started talking about, and Guruji is here as well, last time we started talking about Draupadi. And Draupadi represents the fruits of nature. Draupadi represents that how the 5 elements can enjoy nature, how the 5 Pandus had one wife. It represents that how the nature, how we have that sensory enjoyment respectfully to be used. At the same time, when Draupadi finds herself being gambled and disrespected, that's what led to war. So it's a sign for us that when a woman, or even when nature is disrespected, when we go against nature, what it can cause for us is great peril. After that, we moved on to Karna. And Karna is that interesting character. He's the first son of Kunti, the eldest brother of the Pandavas, but could never be treated as a son because technically he was illegitimate. He was the son of the son, and he always was protected by his father figure, but he had resentment towards what had happened in his life, and because of the resentment, he played victim his whole life. And that's an indication for us that when you play victim, right, he was not able to accept the reality that was given to him, the birth that was given to him, and that resentment really led to a lot of his peril. So we are going to start again, Karna, go into some other characters and really take it to the battlefield. So I've given Guru, so Guruji is about to join. Guruji, Pranam, Guruji.
Namaste.
How are you doing?
Doing very well, thank you.
I just summarized a little bit of what we spoke last time, Guruji. I started talking about Karna. And with Karna, how you said that Karna was not obedient to his parents. Karna could not accept his destiny. Karna could not accept the fate that he was born with. And he kept resisting that. He kept feeling like it was injustice for him. And because of that, he kind of led himself to a place of peril. So Guruji, I want to go back to that about the kundala, the earring and the kundala, and how he gave it away. His father had said, the sun god had said, do not give this will protect you, but he gave it away. He gave it away to a poor man, right, Guruji? So it was an act of kindness. Why did he still suffer?
Even if it is an act of, like giving, there are certain rules. If a drunkard comes to you and you feel that that person is really hungry, but if you give money, he may use that money for drinking further, for buying liquor. If you are confident about that action, will you provide him money? That is the question. So there is a saying in India, like you should know the begging bowl very well. Then only you have to put something on that. So Karna was trying to show his behavior, and he was very famous of giving up everything. Anybody approaches him, he used to give whatever they were asking. But he was having that feeling that, yes, this is my name and fame. I don't want to give up that. That is an egotistic thought. So his father approached him and gave him a warning. And not only a warning, it was even explained through the dharmic way. This is the law. What did he say? As a father, I have the right to assure the safety of my son. That is why I donated you the armor and the earring. And you are not supposed to give up this by like a dana. You are not supposed to do that. You can give somebody, like you can offer things as dharma or dana, whatever you earned by yourself, as per the rule of dharma. You are not supposed to donate something which you are not earned by yourself. If it is donated by someone else to you, you are not the owner for that. That is the law of dharma. So, Suryadeva, his father, very clearly stated that, being your father, I want to assure my son's safety. So this is donated to you by my son. You are not supposed to donate this one to someone else. So first, he denied the command of his father. Second thing, he violated the law of dharma. Why? Because he didn't want to lose the name and fame of that, the honor of donating everything. So it was a wrong donation. It fell in wrong hands. And the price he was forced to pay was his life itself. So what is the message? You should listen the people who are responsible for your safety or the law of dharma. People who have unconditional love towards you must be respected and obeyed. If you forget or if you fail to obey these kind of people, your end will be as disastrous as Karna. That's all.
I still have to wrap my head around this one, Guruji, because it was an act of giving. Secondly, Guruji, in today's day and age, right? I mean, there is some, I don't know, it's a little confusing, right, Guruji? Because sometimes when you become an adult and you have parents and they themselves feel sometimes that, hey, I'm not sure if I know the best for you. This is my opinion. And there is a gray area in that, right, Guruji? But to say that blindly, even as an adult, you blindly, because even parents are struggling. See, Surya was a devta, he was a god. So he was
Yes.
but today, even parents are struggling, like even for my own children, right, Guruji? I don't know. I know I've made decisions in the past which I felt like I wish I had not made these decisions for them. So, how can I be sure? I actually tell my daughter Suhani that, hey, I'm not sure about this one. I'm not sure. You tell me, what do you think? So, how do you know for sure, Guruji? Just because I have unconditional love for them, that every decision I make for them will be right?
There are two ways. Either do yoga and learn to listen from the heart. Then you never get a confusion on taking a decision.
Fair
If you are not capable of doing that, listen the people who had already learned to listen their heart. They are called aptas. Apta means people who are capable of explaining something without the feeling of I, me, and mine. So these people set about everything, whatever is available in our life. They had gone through that and defined in different ways. These are the characters. So if you are confused on a particular character, which you fail to, or you find difficulty to take a decision, refer the instructions of the avatars. Then you will come to know, yes, I am unable to take a decision by myself. Then I surrender to this master. Then I follow that. Then you never get a confusion. Again, actually the master is not directly influencing you. The firm belief on the master will make your mind strong. When your mind is strong and clear, your decision will be comfortable for you. So in Karna's case also, you should not be confused about the mistake done by Karna, because the armor, which was meant for his safety only, it was not at all useful for the beggar. Then why did he give that? Even when you donate something, you must be aware how it is going to be used. Suppose you are a military person and you have an AK-47 gun with you. Somebody came and begged for that. Will you donate that to that person? Then you will think, why this guy is coming and asking this one. If that person is asking for one meal, you will comfortably give that. Yeah, he is hungry, so take this. You are giving that. Then you think, why do I donate something? And how that donation is going to be utilized, whether it is going to be utilized for a wrong reason or a good reason. If you are sure that that donation is going to or falling into wrong hands, never donate. If you are confident about that, you have to verify the history of the guy who came and the history of the team, and you should inquire about. This is in our practical life. But in our spiritual or mental level, if you get a confusion how to instruct, how to guide your child, you may get a confusion. Then take the similar situation, verify with the scriptures. Scriptures are not for blindly following. It's only for reference. You can verify, this situation, how in that particular time this king or that person handled with that.
Fair enough.
Then you come to know that, yes, master is saying that, this situation can be handled in such and such ways. That's all.
Fair enough, Guruji. So what you're saying, to either awaken your inner guru when you are not operating out of greed, of pride, of ego. When you do yoga, you kind of operate from that place of unity with the cosmos. And when you're operating from that union, that spot of union with the cosmos, all your decisions are in a flow and you're not confused about them. And if it's case, that's when you refer to the avatars, to those who have been through this journey themselves, and you kind of refer to our scriptures and you get guidance on how do I act in such a situation. And that's why these scriptures are so useful and they become a guide for our life, because they tell you very directly, hey, the consequence of A is B and of C is D. So by going through these scriptures, by going through these the Bhagavad Gita and the Mahabharata, you try and understand the course of where certain types of actions and intentions can take you.
True.
Okay.
Yes.
So Guruji, now let's go to Duryodhana, right? The Kauravas of the Kaurava, the brother who seemed to be the most evil. What does he represent, and what is his relevance in this whole Mahabharata?
Our negative thoughts are as equal as positive thoughts. They are very powerful as the positive one. Select both sides of the same coin. When you take a coin, we have head and tail. How we can say, okay, head is right, tail is right? No. We cannot discriminate this. Day and night comes. Which one we appreciate? It depends on the situation. When we are active in our daily work, of course, it should be daytime. When we are tired, we have to sleep. That time, night must come. So this is the inevitable action of or the process of nature. Same way we have positive and negative thoughts. Pandavas are representing positive thoughts, less in number but very powerful. negative thoughts are Kauravas, powerful, but more in number. But end of the day, positive thoughts, which are representing the law of nature, will be in tune with the cosmic intelligence, which is represented by Krishna, will have the ultimate success. Then the negative thoughts will be somehow suppressed or eliminated. So Duryodhana, you see the word also, Duryodhana. Durya means it's bad luck in Sanskrit. Dhana means wealth. So Duryodhana is representing to capture or to possess wealth through wrong ways. So he's representing that. Whenever we get a tendency to achieve something or attain something out of the way, then immediately we must tell ourselves that, hey, you are Duryodhana. Immediately that thought must be eliminated. If you feel that, no, I don't know whether that is a negative thought or not, then immediately verify with any one of the scriptures and compare the situation with the explanation. Then you will come to know whether this thought, negative or positive. Naturally, you will come to know, yes, this is a negative thought. Whatever it is, if you go against your inner conscience, it will be negative. Then how to handle it? Masters are explaining very well. These are the different situations created by Duryodhana. The first thing, he was not ready to share the country with the Pandavas, whom were eligible to get.
Yeah, they had.
So yes, their country was detained forcefully by Duryodhana. That means the first mistake he did that. Second thing, he humiliated a woman in the public. He was the main reason. He was the main cause of that issue. So there is no excuse in Indian tradition. If a lady is humiliated, attacked, then tortured, death is the punishment. There is no doubt. Either the law will punish him or sentence him to death, or nature itself will give him that ultimate punishment. So he is representing that. Second thing, he captured their land by using gambling. So whatever deeds Duryodhana got it, we are not having any kind of justification as per the law of nature or the existing law of that culture. Now here also, when we violate a particular law, you can explain or you can define different ways. Even a thief can justify his act of stealing something, or because of that I was forced to steal. That is his explanation. But the constitution will not accept that. If you make a mistake, you will be punished. So Duryodhana, very powerful person, negative thoughts. We are all having a very, very powerful Duryodhana in our mind. We should be able to handle him. Otherwise, life will be miserable and it will be disastrous as Duryodhana's fate.
Okay. So Duryodhana represents, he's really the epitome of that negative power that we might contain within.
Yes.
The potential to want more than our fair share of all that evil, right? So he's a very powerful. The reason why Duryodhana was such a main character in the 100 Negative Brothers was to show us how powerful that negative thought can be. That negative potential we have can be so powerful that it can ruin everything, like the Vastraharan for Draupadi, or just even this whole greed of not giving somebody the fair share. So again, out of ego comes all of this. Once you have the ego, Dhritarashtra, comes all of these, that I'm like this, I can do this, I want this. And all of that kind of goes against the Pandav potential, which is
Yes.
represents the 5 elements, represents the 5 senses, the potential we have to use what we have, the 5 senses, the 5 elements, and really find
Yes.
the cosmos, with the cosmic.
Yes.
They're always in battle.
Main thing, if you compare these two sides, Duryodhana is on left side, I mean the negative side, who is the counterpart Dharmaputra,
Yudhishthira.
the embodiment of righteousness. He was having all virtues. But Duryodhana is the embodiment of all evil actions. See the connection of two opposites, Dharmaputra and Duryodhana, positive and negative. They are coming face to face. Here also, Dharmaputra is always standing by himself. Of course, he was listening his gurus, advices, brothers, but whenever he wanted to take a decision, it was taken by himself. That is the peculiarity of positive thought. Then you can see Duryodhana is always being controlled by whom? Shakuni, the embodiment of all distortions. Duryodhana was not taking any decision by himself. He was really used as a tool. He was influenced by the corrupted person Shakuni, because Shakuni was having a wrong or an evil intention, because his sister Gandhari, when was forced to marry Dhritarashtra, the blind man, the Gandhara king was not as powerful as the Hastinapura king. So when the proposal came, Shakuni couldn't object. They were forced to marry. I mean, Gandhari was forced to marry Dharmaputra. Dhritarashtra. So the blind man. When she got married with a blind man, what she did, she covered her eyes to follow the feelings of her husband. So both became technically blind. So as her brother, Shakuni couldn't tolerate that. So by keeping that evil feeling inside, he was pretending that I am supporting you, you are my beloved son, like that. So he was saying this. So what happened? Duryodhana, negative thoughts always fall into wrong, associations, wrong friendship, wrong guidance. So here we have to be very careful. Our positive thoughts usually will not fall into wrong contacts, wrong associations, but it will be very specific to get guidance from right sources. But when we become negative, technically by nature, we fall into wrong hands, wrong associations. So handling Duryodhana must be very, very careful. This is what we should tell ourselves. Always we should tell ourselves that we should not appreciate our Duryodhana. Always appreciate Dharmaputra. Then we cannot ignore both, because that is the sign of life.
Great. Good. We have a very good understanding of the cast of characters. I'm going to try and just do a very quick summary so we can actually take it, right? Here is the blind king representing blindness, gets married to a queen, Gandhari, who says, the only way I can exist with your negativity and ego is if I become like that too. So like Guruji said, when there is negativity, it attracts wrong associations. Now both of them together, blind, have given birth to 100 sons that represent negativity and evil. The chief of them is Duryodhana. Duryodhana is the epitome of negativity, of greed, of dishonesty, who is so blind by ego, so driven by that ego, that he says, I will do whatever it takes to get whatever I want. Means are not important, his end is important. And like it is, the truth is that when we are negative, we cannot exist alone, right? Because we don't feel somewhere in our heart, we don't feel confident either, because we have lower self-esteem. We know that something is out of order. The more negative you are, the more resistance you get from the universe, so the more support you create of all of these negative forces. Shakuni, his uncle, was that big negative support in his life, that poor company, which kind of propelled this even further. They were the kings and the princes of the powerful kingdom of Hastinapur. All of this represents, when our power, our ego, our negativity, they can all come to one side as a human being, right? And they can seem very powerful in this world. They can seem like they're, that this is it. I can achieve the world. I can rule the world with all of this. But on the other side is the Pandavas, is the potential for that exploration. The five brothers, or the Pandavas, represent many things, one of which is the five elements, characteristics, five senses. They represent that you can exist in this world through your five senses without that ego, without that power. The five brothers, the eldest of which was Yudhishthira or Dharmaputra, very righteous, a great sense of propriety. And he stayed with it till the end, right? He stayed with what he felt was right till the end. He also exists, even his demeanor is like, I know what I'm doing. Because when you're operating from that place of justice and honesty, you have the confidence to operate by yourself. You know what is right because you know it. Your inner compass is strong. That being said, they also represent the five senses. So it's an indication for us that you can enjoy the world through your five senses and still not give in to all this negativity. So they were all married to Draupadi, who represents the fruits of Mother Nature that we can all experience without having the ego, without having the power. So that's what the representation of Draupadi was, that Mother Nature. Out of the five brothers, now we come to Arjuna. That represents that focus, that fierce, that, he starts questioning. So here, this potential we have of something in this whole powerful scheme is wrong. And the Kauravas and the Pandavas come on a battlefield, right? Because there is exploitation of Mother Nature. Something has gone wrong. They come on a battlefield, and Arjun, the seeker, the questioner, starts questioning, is this really what here I am fighting my uncles and my cousin brothers? Is this really what life is supposed to be about? So he comes from a place of righteousness, but he still has to fight, like we all have to fight our demons. And that questioning has begun for him. So he's found himself now on the battlefield with Krishna, who represents the truth. If Arjuna is the seeker, Krishna is the source. If Arjuna is the questioner, Krishna is the answer. So now he's found himself, like we all find ourselves occasionally, that what am I doing? Because we all innately have that inner compass which tells us the right direction, but we are lured by greed. We are lured by the negative thoughts. We are lured by all of this, and this is the essence. This brings us in the whole setup of the Bhagavad Gita. That conversation between Krishna and Arjun.
Yes.
Okay, Guruji.
We have to have an overall idea about Mahabharata. Then only we will get the essence of it. On top of getting the essence, we can put ourselves into different corners as different characters to have our life, trouble-free, or maintain our life in a comfortable way. So here, Dhritarashtra represents our ego. I, me, and mine. Actually, it's blind. In front of the cosmic law, we are all having this feeling of possessiveness. Even if the God himself is coming and telling you that, hey, these things are momentary. You don't try to cling on these possessions. But we will say, hey God, I respect you, but for the time being, let me cling to my possessions. This is our ordinary nature. So Dhritarashtra represents that. But if he can open the third eye, the spiritual eye, his life will be entirely different. And we can see different occasions where the spiritual eyes are opening. In Bhagavad Gita also, during this conversation, once Arjuna become a bit stubborn about his intellect, then Krishna will show his universal manifestation. That time, Arjuna's third eye was forcefully opened by Krishna. Then only he could see the real state of the Virat Rupa, the universal shape, the universal state of existence. Another time, we can see before the war starts, Vedavyasa will come. Vedavyasa offered Dhritarashtra to see the war. So he said, I will give you the third eye. I will activate your third eye to see the war. Then what Dhritarashtra will say? I don't want to see the war. Instead of giving me the third eye, you give that third eye to Sanjaya, his confidant, Dhritarashtra. So Vedavyasa will give the third eye. The third eye will be activated by Vedavyasa to Sanjaya. Then Sanjaya could see from a long distance the war, and he was explaining all incidents, things happened in the war field to Dhritarashtra. This is how even the Gita starts. A technical point, if you notice, it will be amazing. Actually, Gita starts when the war is over for 10 days. From the 11th day only, Gita starts. There, he started from his memory. You know why that Gita starts with the 10th day of war?
Why?
Krishna said, Pandavas are going to win the war because they are with the law of nature. They are not violating the law. Dharma, wherever dharma is appreciated, the success will be with them. Vedavyasa will come and say that to Dhritarashtra. Hey, you are actually supporting your children, means they are in wrong side. So nobody can beat Pandava. They are not only violating the law of nature, but also supported by the cosmic intelligence, Krishna himself. So once they have this two positive, sides, nobody can beat them. These are the main powers for them. So the success is already declared to Pandavas. But still, what Dhritarashtra will say, no, let them fight. You know why? Because he was maintaining a thought that Bhishma is with Duryodhana, his son. Bhishma is invincible because he got a boon from his father. So long as Bhishma is alive, poor Dhritarashtra was hoping that my son may win. This is the key. You see, we all are like this. All masters, scriptures, even our intuition will say that, hey, you are really appreciating a wrong thought. You are nagging on, or you are clinging on a negative thought. Please give up. Your heart will say. All text will say you are in the wrong path. But still, our ego, the blind ego will say, hey, hold it. You will win. Because there are many things supporting you. See, like Dhritarashtra was thinking, the invincible Bhishma is there. The Acharya, Drona, indomitable. Drona is supporting my son. Karna is with my son. So like that, he was having all these negative supports because he was blind. But in his deep heart, he knew that wherever Krishna is there, success is going to happen. So that, see, the poor guys, confusion. We are all having that Dhritarashtra state of mind. Then finally his ego will win. So war started. So every day he was asking, Sanjaya, I don't want to see the truth. So I want to hear the truth through somebody. This is what's happened. So Sanjaya was explaining, war started like this. There also, see the first sloka start, Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveda Yuyutsuva, Mamakaha Pandavaschaiva, Kimakurvada Sanjaya. This is the first sloka of Gita. We may think that, the two armies, Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, the war field of Dharma, and Kurukshetra is a place in UP. Still the land is there. So then two armies, Pandavaha, Mamakaschaiva, and my people and Pandava, they arrayed for battle. Then Kimakurvada, what happened to Sanjaya? Tell me. So this starts, this dialogue between the Sanjaya and Dhritarashtra starts the 11th day. Because 10 days he didn't want to know what's happening in the war field. Because he was expecting that Bhishma will support my son to win the war. So the sloka says, I will come back to that later. So the 10th day, Bhishma fell. Then Sanjaya started running back to Dhritarashtra and said, "Oh, the indomitable Pitamaha, Bhishma fell. Arjuna put him down." The moment he heard that news, he collapsed. Dhritarashtra collapsed. Then after giving him some, what we see, like medical assistance, he came back to his normal state of consciousness. Then he said, Sanjaya, come, tell me the war from the day one. What does it mean? See the technique where master used it. So all these 10 days, this poor blind man was surviving on the hope that Bhishma is alive. Since he was having the boon of immortality, my son will win. My negative thought will win. This is what he was thinking. Then one day, the 10th day, he came to know that even the invincible Bhishma fell. He lost all hopes. There he became matured enough to accept the law of nature. So that painting is representing that we have to have that unconsciousness, superconscious feeling. Then only we will become mature for spiritual reality. There, Sanjaya started giving answer. The first question in the 11th day of the war, Dhritarashtra will ask, in this war field, what had happened? So we may think this is a simple war between two armies. No, if you go to the depth, Dharma Kshetre, Dharede Idi Dharma, means the cosmic reality has its own design. Not even one molecule can go beyond that law, that design. So that perfect design of nature is called destiny. So that is the Dharma Kshetra. Nothing is going beyond that law. Kuru Kshetra, Kuru means mamata, me, I, me and mine. So we have a limited existence. That is Kuru Kshetra. So the cosmic law and our individual ego or possessiveness. Samaveda Yuyutsuva, there my positive thoughts representing the Dharma and my negative thoughts representing my ego and possessiveness. Then they have started the war, or they are going to start the war. Then he was asking, Kima Kurvada Sanjaya, tell me what had happened after. So here we should come to know our negative thoughts are always in fight with the cosmic laws. And no Bhishma can protect you from our negative deeds. So this is the message. This is the role of Dhritarashtra is only asking this question. After that, he was explaining the dialogue between Arjuna and Krishna, which had happened in the middle of the war. So Dhritarashtra must be understood in this sense. We should place ourselves that our two eyes are only getting connected to our possessions, name, fame, prosperity, whatever it is. But we can have the enjoyments of these things. We are born to do that, but never deny the instructions of either Veda Vyasa or Krishna. Krishna is only a projection or an introduction by Veda Vyasa. The super mind behind all this, creation is the Veda Vyasa. We must appreciate that mind, that he represents the real wisdom of Indian tradition.
Lovely, Guruji. Very nice. I really like the part that Guruji says Dharma Kshetra and Kurukshetra. Dharma Kshetra is that operational field which is united with the cosmic truth, the reality. And Kurukshetra is what is obsessed with the ego, the body, the senses in this sansar. So this is the battle, Kurukshetra, Dharma Kshetra. And present like Guruji said, where does the Bhagavad Gita start? It starts on the 10th day of the war. Already Kurukshetra, Dharma Kshetra, already this good and evil have been battling. At some point, Dhritarashtra, who was blind, right? Our blindness, even when we know that we are doing something wrong, in Ayurveda you call it pradnya aparadha, that you know that you have that intuitive understanding that this is not going to work for me. But we still live in the illusion, in the delusion, like Dhritarashtra did, that, oh, I have Bhishma, this might work out. Oh, I have Bhishma, this might work out. And he was in that. In fact, so much so that he didn't want to see the truth. And we all do this all the time, where we deny the truth to ourselves. We may get a glimpse of the truth and say, we don't want to see it, because it's so much more comfortable to live in our yearning, to live in that asakti of, oh, this is what I want and I know I'm going to get it. And we create these false hopes in our brain, going against the law of nature. The law of nature, which is very clear, it says, like the Pandavas were, you are following the sense of dharma, and if you follow the sense of dharma, very naturally, the cosmic energies like Krishna will be with you because you're following the law of dharma. And somewhere we all know that doesn't matter what we do, doesn't matter how much army we gather, 100 sons, big army, kingdom, whatever we have, right? And we may try to deny our truth for a very long time. But it's one day going to come and wake us up, right? Like one day Dhritarashtra, who didn't want to know the truth, who denied the truth, who was obsessed with his yearning to win, and blind in every way, one day had to be woken up. The day 11th of the Bhagavad Gita, he woke up. He had to ask the real question, as we all do. And that's where this begins.
Yes. I will give you one of my personal experience to describe our present day Dhritarashtra. When I was in Oman, when I was in Oman, Muscat.
Yes,
yeah. One of my friends' wife was having cancer. She had gone for a surgery, and doctor told them that if that problem reoccur within 5 years, then there is no other treatment. If it is not coming back for 5 years, you are protected for minimum 25 to 30 years. So when I met her after the surgery, she was walking with walker. Then many times I told her, whatever happened, let it be. That was your destiny. But just go through some yogic disciplines. Eat clean food, do some breathing exercise and fill your mind with positive thoughts, then fight back. But that lady was not ready to listen. Whenever I used to meet her, I used to remind this. And she was saying that, no, I had gone through this verification, like checkup, everything is doing well. And around 2 years passed like. And one day, the pain went beyond limit. And her husband called me, and we both of us went to take her to the hospital. After doing some MRI and all this thing, within 2 days, he was called in the cabin of the oncologist, chief oncologist. And it was given to him that instruction that prepare the person for the eventuality. There is no medicine for this. Up to that moment, both of them, husband and wife, were thinking that medicine or a second surgery could help them. But when the medical chief declared that nothing is going to be applicable, then I saw both of them, they were sitting like unconscious state. After some time, the lady told me, asked me that, Shiva, can you teach me that technique which you were mentioning? Exactly what Dhritarashtra was doing. Up to that moment, they were thinking that, modern medical amenities could help them, to protect them. But internally, they knew that, yes, these instructions are having certain relevance, but they were not ready to accept that because they were having a false dependence on the medical support. Like the Dhritarashtra was relying on the powerful Bhishma. So these things, these incidents can happen in our life. So when we compare these things, match with our personal experiences, with the narrations of our scriptures, the instructions will be very clear if we are capable of reading in between the lines.
Absolutely. Yeah, continuously reminds me of Pradnya Paradha in Ayurveda.
Yes.
Eating that bag of chips, knowing that it may not be good for me, but saying, oh, no, it's good, I can manage. Today I'll manage. And then you realize it's not, right? So similarly, how many times, every moment in our life, that inner compass, like you said, the inner guru knows the cause.
Yes.
And who is the inner guru? The inner guru is a place and a space which is devoid of all of these negative emotions. When we remove the greed, when we remove the ego, when we remove the anger, when we remove shame, when we remove all of that, what is left is that truth. And when, as long as we can operate from that inner place which is not triggered by all of these events, which is in that white place of peace, we know our guidance. So Guruji, that story brings so many stories to my mind, but you're right, and I think we all do this on a regular daily basis. So Guruji, before we end, let's go to the next part of the Gita, and let's start the introduction of the next part. So now Dhritarashtra has heard, not seen, he has heard from Sanjay.
Yes.
And he's had that little bit of an awakening where he knows that, okay, this seems like maybe a lost cause. Then what happens?
So when he came to know that he is going to lose everything, he became capable of accepting the truth. There, Dhritarashtra represents our inner mind or our ego. So when the reality gives the blow, then we will become prepared, or will become ready to accept the fact. Then Dhritarashtra is slowly taken away from the picture. Slowly the war field is projected. See the technical way of arrangement. Dhritarashtra asks the question, then he is vanished. Then we are seeing the both sides. A few shlokas are explaining how many people are arrayed in one side, how people organized in the other side, and what did they do. So all explanations comes. Then the prime character, the Arjuna, comes in picture. There, first his chariot is explained. How wonderful chariot is having five horses, and Krishna is holding the reins. On the flag, monkey Hanuman is there, and Arjuna is the indomitable Arjuna is holding the Gandiva and prepare for the war. What does it mean? It represents our life. Body is managed and controlled or taken forward by five senses. Five horses are representing that. The chariot is our body. Inside the powerful warrior, the ego, Arjuna, Atma is there with the weapon for winning the war of life. Then the cosmic consciousness, the cosmic law is holding the reins, the control of five senses. That is what he said. Wherever Partha, Arjuna, is being guided by Partha Saradi, Krishna, success is assured. The moment we bring our senses back and connect, make a union with the cosmic law, life is safe. We are approaching to success. This is the representation.
Beautiful.
Then we can see the Arjuna is so enthusiastic to win the war with the great valor. He said, Krishna, take the chariot or guide the chariot to the middle of, place the chariot in between two armies. I want to see with whom I am going to fight. This is what he said. So he was very, was very confident about his power and efficiency. So Krishna silently guided the chariot right in front of the Kaurava army. There he saw the indomitable Bhishma was ready to fight against him, his Pitamaha, on whose lap he was, grown up. And he saw his beloved master, Dronacharya, was ready to fight against him. And he saw his friends, his relatives, all, cousins, everybody was ready either to be killed or to kill him. So this situation is a fantastic presentation of our life also. Many times we will feel very confident that I will do all these things. When we come face to face with our people whom we have a sentimental attachment, all our intellect or our discrimination will fade. Then we become nervous. This is what happened to Arjuna. When he saw these things, he immediately became nervous, became sentimental, where he lost his duty consciousness. He was supposed to kill all these people to win the war as a Kshatriya. But there he forgot that. He lost that consciousness. He became nervous. So we can see that shloka is fantastic. Like Drushtemam Swajanam Krishna Yuitsum Samupastidam. Hey Krishna, by seeing my people, ready to fight, Sidandi Mamagatrani, my body is shivering. Mukham Chaparishushide is getting dry, my face is getting dry. Dandivam Samsade Hastan, I am losing my weapon, the tool to victory is losing. So this is how the shloka advances. And finally, Naja Shaknom Avastadam Brahmadiva Jamevana. So he is becoming nervous and he was, fallen on the seat of the chariot. Actually, that picture is representing our nervousness, and sometimes we will become as weak as Arjuna in many situations. There, what is happening next? Krishna was in picture. So Arjuna came with a full vigor, and like a deflated balloon, he was there as a shadow. Then Krishna comes up. There he started. Kudastva kashmalavidam kushamesham ubastidam. He was saying that, hey, why are you behaving like this? Anarya jushtama sorbyam akirtigaram Arjuna. He was saying this. Hey, you are forgetting about your duty. That means it is as same as death. Your life has no use. This is how she starts. Then slowly encouraging him to bringing back to his duty consciousness. This is how Gita advances. When we go through each and every shloka, we can see Arjuna is our own reflection. Krishna is, a guide, an unconditional guide who can take us to the ultimate victory. This is the total representation of Gita.
Great. Great, Guruji. That made perfect sense. I really like that, when you said that the 5 horses represent the 5 senses. And the cosmic truth, like Krishna, is driving those 5 senses.
Yes.
Is yours. Eventually, victory is yours, because the horses are not going crazy. The horses are being in control. Horses are in control with the understanding of the cosmic truth, like Krishna.
Not only controlling, guiding to the right destination.
Yes. It will naturally guide you when the senses chitta vritti nirodha are in control. You'll be guided automatically, which does not mean that you may not have this moment of a nervous breakdown. In spite of that, in spite of being on this path, like Arjuna did. Arjuna comes with so much confidence. Oh, I'm on this path. I have Krishna. I'm going to do this right. Similarly, when we listen to Guruji and we feel like, oh, now I have this knowledge, I'm going to do it right. But when we actually come to the Kurukshetra, when we actually come to the battlefield, all of those manovikars, all of our, we are attached to all our negativities. Like Arjuna was attached to all these relatives of his, right? Because they're all his relatives. They're all a part of him. And similarly, we feel like, okay, now I know the truth. Now I've read the scriptures. I'm going to do this right. But in the Kurukshetra, you feel questioned. In the Sansar, again, you're like, oh my God, but this person's doing that to me, and that person's doing this to me, and this is my child, and this is my uncle. And all of that happens, right? So Arjun had a moment of that. And all his confidence kind of felt weakened, and it felt shattered. And then this great analogy of the senses being guided and controlled by the cosmic truth. And Arjun on this journey to win this battle of life, and has this nervous breakdown. Now from the next time, we're going to really take on this conversation and understand how it is that we are to be guided. Because even though we are on a spiritual path, like Arjun was, we will be attached to our negativities. We will keep questioning ourselves. And the Bhagavad Gita reminds us, tells us how to navigate through that.
Yes.
Yes, Guruji. So should we end here today? It's 10:30. Is there something that you'd like to say before we end? And then the next time we can pick it up right here.
Yeah. Actually, in Mahabharata, there are a few more situations which we must understand in deep sense.
Absolutely.
Like there is a character called Ekalavya.
Oh yes, Ekalavya.
Ekalavya. Yeah. So, who was, treated very badly by Dronacharya.
Yes.
And
those are good.
Yes.
So, Guruji, next time take Dronacharya.
Next time we will take that. And another situation where Bhishma was, lying on the arrows, the bed of arrows, Sarashaya. There he was delivering the Anushasana. That we should understand properly. Another point is the Padma Vyuha, Chakra Vyuha, where Abhimanyu was trapped in. This also we must understand. These 3 situations are really very relevant for our construction of positive thoughts.
Absolutely.
We will discuss. Next class we will discuss this.
Absolutely, that was amazing, Guruji. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope we can go with the thought of how when the five senses are controlled by the cosmic truth, victory is ours. There may be moments of nervousness. There may be points that how am I going to do this, but it's going to happen. So I hope we can all go with the thought. Pranam, Guruji, and thank you so much.
Pranam. Thank you for.